Welcome back to GoDoBe EmPowerMe. I'm Joe Guskowski, your host, your guide, and your coach throughout this journey. In the last module, we started to introduce the basic idea or the stages of success, and we're going to refer to these stages going forward as the 4 foundations of excellence. Today, we're going to begin by exploring and starting to reflect on that very first foundation, that first pillar. And we're going to refer to that pillar or that foundation as potential. So in order to begin, we have to start by asking a really simple question about what does the word potential actually mean? Now, one definition of potential is about having or demonstrating the ability or capacity to become or to develop something in the future. And we also noted that all people, and this includes you and I, we already have what we need, that potential to create some really amazing outcomes in our lives. And even though we all have this idea of potential or even great potential, this notion that we just have it, it doesn't actually mean that we're going to express it or that it's going to materialize or manifest itself in meaningful ways in our lives. Not at all. Now let's think of it this way. Let's consider a seed, any seed. That seed may have the potential to become a magnificent, towering, majestic tree. Yet, for various reasons throughout the life of that seed may never actually reach or grow into that potential. The same idea is true for people in this world. Just having potential or the capacity to do or to become, it doesn't actually mean that we're going to express it, achieve it, or even reach it. So having potential is not enough. We still have to do something that allows it to manifest or to express itself in our world. In fact, it's not that we can't be successful or that we couldn't do it. That was never true. It's more about that most of us can't honestly imagine that we could do it, that we really have what it takes to do it, or that we can actually use what we have to reach our goals. And the same thing is true about all humanity, that what we can't conceive, we will never achieve. So this right here, this idea of conceiving that and accepting that we have potential is an essential first step on our journey. It is this realization that you and I, actually we have everything that we need, that we are that seed. And if we put ourselves in the right environment, then we too will thrive. If not, oh well. Now this key idea right here, it's the beating heart of the first foundation. It is this notion of our willingness, our openness, our acceptance that anything is possible for us. For those who dare to dream, the world belongs to them. Everything we've done up to this point has all been about opening up our minds to this possibility, to accepting this idea. Remember back to what Sun Tzu told us 2,500 years ago. He reminded us that the secret to ultimate success in life and in his words, military battle, that there are 2 things that we needed to understand and 2 worlds that we needed to know. The first was the outer world, the world out here. The second was the inner world, the world in here. Now, the inner world is the world in which we're going to start. It is the first step in our journey. In future modules, we're going to explore the outer world more deeply because that too is relevant for us. But mastery of the outer world will fail if we have not mastered the inner world, which is what we're going to do. So how do we do this? How do we learn about our inner world? Well, here's the thing when it comes to the inner world. It's not something that we can actually learn because it's not learnable. However, it is discoverable. Now, what I mean by this is that knowing our inner world requires that we set out on an intimate and private journey of self-discovery. We need to truly understand who we are and what we are all about. Now, sometimes this self-exploration of opening ourselves up deeply to our inner world is a bit scary because many of us have no idea who we really are or what we're all about. But don't worry, because we're going to figure it out together. When it comes to the inner-outer world dynamic, most of us in life don't fail because we lack external knowledge or external things. We fail because we lack the internal self-knowledge. This inner world is much harder to figure out because it's kind of nebulous, fuzzy. And sometimes it appears veiled, like we can't seem to see through it. It's like a fog surrounds us that shrouds our hopes, our dreams, our desires, and even our fears. Most of us are too impatient to wait for the mud to settle, for the fog to clear. Instead, we have a tendency to actually stir the mud a little bit more. And so we become trapped in this zombie-like existence without even realizing that we're doing it to ourselves. What we're trying to do or trying to understand here is that we are something far greater, far more amazing than a physical presence subject to the whims of the world around us. We have a higher self. There is something truly special about all human beings that is far more than physical. In other words, the real you and I is not in our bodies, and it's not in our brains. It's not in our looks or how much money we have or how much money we make. It's something else. It's an understanding that you and I, ourselves, are far greater, that I am something beyond the physical characteristics, the mere traits and transient qualities that express themselves through me. Now, this statement, this I am, is actually a very powerful affirmation of the true potential that exists within us. I am, in this moment, something. It's not that I'm going to be, it's that I am. For the idea of the human potential, each of us has far more than we can imagine. If we don't come to know this power, to accept this sentient truth, then we will end up having very little power in life. Without going too deep into this notion right here, and we're going to explore this in much more detail in future modules, let's just run with the assumption for now that it is possible and that it is true, and it will become self-evident as we progress. So here's our takeaway reflection for now. Find your quiet space, turn off your devices, and get away from any distractions, and begin to focus our minds inwards. Think about who we are. I don't mean the physical you, the shape, the size, the color, the gender, none of that. Those are all characteristics. Instead, ask yourself, who are you at your core, deep down inside? And what is the point, the purpose, or the goal, the reason for my life? Now, I'm going to caution you here that this activity is actually a lot harder than it first appears. Often at times, we kind of sit there and go, I have no idea. I don't know what I want. I don't know who I am. I don't know what's important to me. And that's okay. Unless we're used to doing this notion or this idea of self-reflection, and we've done it in the past, you might kind of come up empty the first go around. Don't worry too much about it. Just note whatever it is that you discover or you don't discover. Remember, there are no right and no wrong answers, only truths. And even though we're not sure what they are right now for us, that's okay. Even uncertainty is a truth. Write down whatever thoughts or insights or moments, aha moments come to mind. Now, this brings us to the end of today's module, and our final thought for today is from some Native American wisdom. The wisdom says, as you go the way of life, you will see a great chasm. Jump. It is not as wide as you think. Let's do that jump together. Until I see you next time, have an absolutely amazing day. I'll see you very, very soon.